Suuri osa juutalaisista elää vielä hajallaan ympäri maailmaa. Viime vuosikymmeninä he ovat alkaneet palata omaan maahansa. Tässä Israel puhuu jaksossa tutustumme Shavei Israel-järjestöön, joka auttaa maailman kaikkein syrjäisimpiä juutalaisyhteisöjä muuttamaan Israeliin. Tapaamme Bnei Menashe-yhteisön jäseniä, joita pidetään Menashe-heimon jälkeläisinä. He ovat eläneet 2700 vuotta Koillis-Intiassa. Lopuksi tutustumme pieneen tuntemattomaan juutalaisryhmään, joka elää Kiinan Kaifengissä. Raamatussa mainitusta 12 Israelin heimosta tunnistetaan nykyisin varmuudella vain 2. Toinen niistä on Juudan heimo, jonka jälkeläisiä ovat nykyiset juutalaiset. Heidän joukossa on Leevin heimoon kuuluvia, jotka tunnetaan sukunimistä Kohen, Leevi ja Kats. Muut 10 heimoa ovat historian kuluessa kadonneet. Viime vuosikymmeninä niitä on kuitenkin alkanut ilmestyä eri puolilla maailmaa. Mielenkiintoinen esimerkki tästä on Bnei Menashe-yhteisö. Se on muutaman tuhannen ihmisen ryhmä, joka on elänyt täysin eristyksissä 2700 vuotta Manipurin maakunnassa Koillis-Intiassa. Michael Freund on perustanut järjestön nimeltä Shavei Israel. Sen tarkoituksena on löytää eristyneitä Israelin heimoja ja palauttaa ne takaisin esi-isiensä maahan. Michael Freund toimi 90-luvulla Benjamin Netanyahun lehdistösihteerinä tämän ensimmäisellä pääministerikaudella.
Back in the 90s when I worked for Prime Minister Netanyahu, so one day a letter arrived to the Prime Minister from a community in India known as the Bnei Menashe, the children of Manasseh. This is a community that is descended from the tribe of Manasseh, one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, who were exiled by the Assyrian Empire more than 27 centuries ago. Nonetheless, despite wandering in exile, they managed to preserve their faith and their belief, and they never forgot where they came from, they never forgot who they were, and they never forgot where they dreamed of one day returning to the land of their ancestors, the land of Israel. This letter that the Bnei Menashe had sent to the Prime Minister happened to cross my desk. Initially, I was skeptical. I didn't believe at first that they were in fact descendants of a lost tribe. I thought that they were simply people who sincerely wanted to become Jews. And so I felt that we should help them to do so. But once I traveled to India and I spent a lot of time there and I learned more about their history and their traditions and their customs, I became convinced of the historicity of their claims. I became convinced that they are in fact a lost tribe of Israel.
Raamatussa kerrotaan, että Manasse oli Joosefin poika. Muiden heimojen tapaan hänen jälkeläisensä saivat oman alueen Israelin maasta. Bnei Manasse-ryhmän tarina alkaa jo Israelin hajaantumisesta Juudan ja Israelin kuningaskuntiin, josta kerrotaan kuninkaiden kirjassa Vanhassa testamentissa.
We know from the Bible that after the death of King Solomon, the people of Israel became divided. There was the northern kingdom, which consisted of the 10 tribes of Israel, and then there was the southern kingdom of Judah. In the year 722 before the Common Era, the Assyrian Empire, who were the superpower of the time, invaded the land of Israel, captured the northern kingdom, and took the 10 tribes and sent them off into exile, where they seemingly disappeared into the mists of history. About 140 years later, the Babylonians invaded the land and captured Judah and sent the residents of Judah into exile. We, the Jewish people, the Jews of New York and Helsinki and Jerusalem, we are descendants of, for the most part, of the tribe of Judah, hence the name Jews. The Bnei Menashe, however, are from the 10 tribes of Israel, who were exiled beforehand. According to their tradition, the Bnei Menashe wandered in an easterly direction after being exiled from the land, and they settled in what is now China, where they lived for several centuries. At a certain point, the legend goes that a king or an emperor in China began to persecute them on religious grounds. He confiscated their holy book and forced them to flee southwards and then westwards, where they settled in what is now the northeastern part of India, which borders Burma and Bangladesh. Throughout their wanderings, the Bnei Menashe kept the laws of the Torah. They observed the Sabbath, they kept kosher, they practiced the laws of family purity, they even established cities of refuge, as the Bible mandates. And they passed down from generation to generation a deep and firm belief that one day they would, in fact, return to Zion.
This is Manipur that I come from. Josanpur is the place that I was born. Mizoram is the place that another Bnei Menashe are living, state of Mizoram.
Svik Haute muutti Israeliin Intian Manipurista vuonna 2000. Hänen tehtävänsä Shavei Israel-järjestössä on pitää yhteyttä Intiassa eläviin manasselaisiin. Zvi kasvoi perheessä, jossa noudatettiin sukupolvien takaisia perinteitä. Kaipuu takaisin Sioniin oli voimakas.
I remember one thing very clear as a child, that when I was around 7-8 years old, we used to form a chain, playing with my friends, and then we used to sing one song very common to us, Lut Til Til Zion, Lut Til Til. We make one gate or one door, and then one enters and then the other follows, and then the others make a chain holding hands together, Lut Til Til Zion, make hay, be quick to enter Zion. That was the song that I could remember till today. And we never identified and called ourselves our forefathers, Judah, a Jew, or Israelites. They call themselves sons of Menashe, Menashe Tate. That's how we identified ourselves. When there are some natural calamities like earthquakes, our forefathers, our parents always say that, oh, the sons of Bnei Menashe, Menashe Tate, we are still alive here. Help us, the Father and the God of Bnei Menashe.
Bnei Menashe-yhteisö onnistui säilyttämään Jumalan Israelin kansalle antamat lait 2700 vuotta, vaikka heillä ei ollut yhtä ainutta vanhan testamentin kirjaa.
We have a priest. In its village we have a priest. The priest looks after all the religious affairs of the community. So there are so many sacrifices like communal sacrifices, individual sacrifices. Whoever is sick, he knows exactly how to do the sacrifices, how to heal even the sick person. Whenever there is disputes among the residents or among the community, it is always settled through witnesses. And then whenever someone is born, the 7th day and the 8th day, there is a feast. Many families, relatives come together and then celebrate and then name a boy or a girl on the 8th day and then did Brit Milah. They're always long Zion, Jerusalem, Israel, but our forefathers, in their generation, they were not so lucky that they could make it physically, but they always long. In almost all their poetry, almost all their songs, there is a love of Zion, a love of Jerusalem, but they think that Zion, Jerusalem is not in this earth, in this globe. They think that it is in heavens.
Their existence was largely unknown because that part of India, even today, is very remote in a geographical sense. Even nowadays, to get there is not a simple matter. So they lived in this remote corner of northeastern India. In fact, it was the first British missionaries and military officers who arrived there a century ago. They were among the first Westerners to discover this community. And we have their diaries, we have their writings that they kept, the missionaries and the military officers, and they were astonished to discover this population group that was familiar with the stories of the Bible and was living according to the Torah and referred to God by the Hebrew word Yah, and spoke of how they would one day return to a place called Zion. So much so that the British began to refer to this community by two Burmese words, the Lu She, which means the 10 tribes.
100 vuotta sitten Intiassa toimivat englantilaiset lähetystyöntekijät toivat Bnei Menashe-heimolle ensimmäiset heidän kielelleen käännetyt raamatut.
When they look at the Tanakh, the Bible, when they study, that was translated into English from our language, our own language, Kuki and Mizo. They come to know that who is Manasseh. Manasseh is one of the two sons of Joseph Hatzadik. And then who is Joseph? Joseph is one of the sons of Yaakov. Yaakov is the son of one of the sons of Ishaq, Abraham. In that way, we could trace back that we belong to the Israelites, the Jews.
Uusi teknologia auttoi manasselaisia saamaan tietoa Israelin valtiosta ja he päättivät yrittää Israeliin muuttoa.
When I was doing my graduation in Delhi, I always loved Eretz Israel. I used to go through the internet, study a book on Israel, the religion, the history, the cultures, the geography, politics. I love it. And then I knew what exactly is Israel through the books.
Every step of the long road from eastern India back to Israel, from transportation to paperwork.
Finally, the dream of my parents, the dream of my forefathers and myself dream is to be fulfilled because I got the visa that I heard the news that I could make earlier in the year 2000. 11 February 2000, when I landed in El Al flight, Tel Aviv airport, I was crying because it was really the dream coming true. Many people could not fulfill those dreams. Myself the dream becomes reality. It was very emotional. So I was crying. I just took some people say that I heard that when I was in India that even the land, even the soil of Eretz Israel is kadosh, holy. So I just kissed the soil even.
Tähän mennessä 1700 manasselaista on muuttanut Israeliin. Shavei Israel-järjestö auttaa heitä täkäläiseen yhteiskuntaan sopeutumisessa.
Being an immigrant is always a challenge. I know that myself. I made Aliyah from New York 16 years ago, and it requires adjustments, learning a new language, a new mentality, a new way of doing things. But thankfully, the absorption of the Bnei Menashe here in Israel has been immensely successful. Like I said, we've brought 1,700 members here to the Jewish state. We did a study last year of the community, and we found, for example, that only 4% of the Bnei Menashe immigrants are reliant on social welfare benefits from the government, which is about half the national average. The Bnei Menashe work hard, they support themselves and their families, they serve in the Israeli Defense Forces, they volunteer for combat units, they raise the most beautiful Jewish children. They are a blessing for Israel and the Jewish people. And as much as we might think that we are strengthening them. The truth is, they are strengthening us.
Svi perheineen asuu Kirjat Arbassa Jerusalemista etelään, jossa elää maan suurin manasselaisryhmä.
When I arrived here in the year 2000, there were only 20-25 families. And then now it is growing very fast. As we see from the sages, the Chachamim, outside Israel, we don't multiply. Here in Israel, whenever we enter Israel, we are multiplying. So in Kiryat Arba, we have altogether 750 people. That is over 170 families. That is the biggest Bnei Menashe community living in Eretz Israel. This is the place that Bet Miriam is called the community center of Shavei Israel for Bnei Menashe in Kiryat Arba. And then the kids, according to their classes, divided into classes. And then we have teachers, good teachers that who could help them solve their homeworks, help them in their homeworks, in their difficulties. And then parents are working before they arrive their homes. We have an address or a place that the kids could play or could eat or could feel a warmth of their love to share with their friends. And then we have a place to look after them here.
Manasselaisten kotouttaminen Israeliin on onnistunut hyvin. Heidän tuomisensa maahan ei kuitenkaan ollut helppoa, koska heidän kansallisia oikeuksiaan ei ole lailla säädetty. Tämän takia Intiassa on edelleen 7200 manasselaista, jotka odottavat Israeliin muuttoa.
We had to battle Israel's vaunted bureaucracy time and again. Essentially, I had to go to the Interior Ministry each year and seek permission to bring a group of 100 at a time, 200 at a time. And there were periods where it was very difficult, where certain government ministers were simply not in favor of allowing this aliyah to take place. And in fact, in 2007, that was the last time we were able to bring a group on aliyah of 230 people from the state of Manipur in northeastern India.
My parents, my siblings, my brothers and sisters still got stuck. They are the ones among the 7,200 that we are working very hard to bring back them to the promised land, to reconnect and to rejoin with the broken families. And then I'm the one from the family, my own family, that making aliyah. And then my wife too, her brothers and sisters and parents still got stuck in India, waiting for the next aliyah to come to rejoin the family here in the Holy Land.
But when the Netanyahu administration came back to power 2 years ago, I immediately began lobbying intensively, meeting with government ministers, meeting with Knesset members. And thank God we've had this breakthrough. And I'm hopeful that within the next few months, we will begin to see the first batches of immigrants from the Bnei Menashe begin to arrive here again in Israel.
Shavei Israel auttaa muitakin juutalaisryhmiä tiedostamaan uskonnollisen identiteettinsä ja muuttamaan Israeliin. Kaifengissä Itä-Kiinassa elää noin 1000 juutalaista. He ovat vasta viime vuosina alkaneet palata uskonnollisille ja kansallisille juurilleen. 2 vuotta sitten Kaifengista muutti Israeliin 10 nuoren ryhmä. He opiskelevat juutalaisuutta Jerusalemista etelään sijaitsevassa Gus Etzionissa.
Most people are not aware of the fact that there was a Chinese Jewish community for over 1,000 years. The first Jews are believed to have arrived in China around the 8th or the 9th century. They were Jewish traders traveling along the Silk Route. They originated in either Persia or Iraq, and they reached Kaifeng, where, the legend goes, the Chinese emperor greeted them and gave them their blessing to settle in the city, which is what they did. Slowly but surely, a Jewish community blossomed there, and in the Middle Ages, there were as many as 4,000 to 5,000 Jews living in Kaifeng with rabbis and synagogues and community institutions. Around the 18th century or so, a process of assimilation and intermarriage began to take place there among the Jewish community. They faced almost no anti-Semitism whatsoever, so it was very easy for them to begin to integrate and then melt away into the larger society. Nonetheless, until today, there are about 1,000 people in Kaifeng who look Chinese, who speak Chinese, but who are identifiable as descendants of the Kaifeng Jewish community. Communism in China nearly succeeded in erasing that identity. But we know that no man-made power is stronger than faith. And the Jewish descendants of Kaifeng always kept a strong connection with their ancestors and with their identity. And in recent years, as Chinese society has opened up more, and as the internet has made information about Israel and Jews more accessible to the people in Kaifeng, there has been an awakening taking place there, particularly among the younger generation who want to learn more about Israel, who want to reconnect with their Jewish roots. And over the past few years, we've been blessed to be able to bring groups of these young people, of young Kaifeng Jews from China, on Aliyah to Israel, where they undergo a process of return to the Jewish people, and then they become Israeli citizens in every respect. We have the beginnings of a Chinese Jewish community developing right here in Jerusalem.
First, I learned in university for chemistry 1 year. Then I heard the Shavei Israel. They came and help us to had a community. So we began to find back our ancient religion. Because before we only knew we were Jewish descendants. So, but what's the meaning for us? Is not only we don't eat pork or we don't eat blood. It's many meaning, but we didn't know in that time. So we just try to get together, like several times a week, to learn something about history about Israel, history about Jews, or some Hebrew. My feeling is very after I came here is became very calm, yeah, not like in China. Because I think this is because of the people. They are very nice.
Before in China, my job is a dentist. I have worked 3 years in clinic. I studied dentist in college, 4 years. Yeah, after then, I come to Israel. I'm very young, 12 before. I don't know about everything Jewish. But my grandpa first time told me, or my mother's family is from Jewish religion. It's a little simulation right now, because Kaifeng right now we lost the tradition long time ago. So right now why we want to come to here. So I think before in China I learned in China Kaifeng Jewish community 3 years. So I learned a little bit basic religion and a little bit Hebrew. Mm-hmm. So right now I understand why we want to come to Israel. So why we're from a Jewish family. Mm-hmm. So what is Jewish? So right now, I think we come to here is not I want to become Jewish. Is I'm Jewish. I'm just lost. I'm just lost tradition a long time years ago.
Our estimate is that about half of the 1,000 Jewish descendants in Kaifeng have, for the most part, assimilated and are no longer interested or connected to their identity. The other half are interested. And of those 400 to 500 people, we estimate that most of them, if given the opportunity, would in fact like to explore Israel as an option. In China, as we know, there is a great deal of reverence and respect for one's ancestors. So the Jewish descendants of Kaifeng have always carried that within them, that strong sense of respect for their forefathers. And in a sense, many of them want to live up to the dreams of their ancestors who always prayed and hoped for the day when they would be allowed to come back here. The prophets all speak about the fact that towards the end of days, Judah will return to the land, as will the people of Israel. For example, the prophet Jeremiah in chapter 3 says, "In those days the house of Judah will walk with the house of Israel." Judah and Israel coming together again here in the land. And I believe that we are actually witnessing the fulfillment of those words before our very eyes.